welcome to the JMC Podcast. It's the Journeymen Collective. I am Gary Logan of the Journeymen Collective. My partner is Rob Grover. Together, we have been guiding visionaries through luxurious plant medicine journeys. We empower executives, entrepreneurs, and professionals to connect deeply into self, to amplify their awareness, and to accelerate their conscious vision for life and business into reality. Today on the JMC Podcast, we have the honor of speaking to Kimberly Mireau. She has been on a journey with us approximately 4 years ago. I would like to take a bit of her testimonial and read that first before we get into a conversation with Kimberly, which is going to be a very exciting and informative podcast for sure. Kimberly said, "My journey was everything you could imagine or dreamed of and more. I was being shown the great unveiled infinite wisdom of pure love through the light, color, and sound, and I allowed it to move through me. Through the next few days was so full of love and pure bliss for me, my chest actually physically ached, as if it was so full of energy, it was going to burst open. I was able to take this energy and love home with me and share it with my loved ones, which also helped heal them as they felt my strong love, softness, and light. Truly amazing. We appreciate you and love you dearly." Can you provide us listeners, or provide our listeners with some insight of your background, who you are, maybe who you were prior to the journey and where you are now in your life?
Thank you. Yeah, so who I am is mainly as a businesswoman, and I love to dabble in the healing arts, of course. So as a businesswoman, business owner, capital developer, entrepreneur, where I was before I met Gary and Rob, the shamans known as the Journeymen, is I was in a time in my life where I was feeling like I just needed to go a little bit deeper. And I had done a lot of work to this point in my life, in many psycho-spiritual, transpersonal counseling communities, Kundalini yoga, healing arts. I'm always naturally drawn to the healing arts, so I'd done a lot of work, but there was that time in my life when I was just kind of thinking I needed something a little different, and maybe another or a different type teacher, and I was looking for a shaman actually. So I'm also part Native, Chippewa and Iroquois, and part of the Dene, Saisei Dene First Nations. So I do have that in my cellular DNA. And so I was kind of thinking, wow, I should probably time to tune into a shaman. And then it happened.
And guess what? We met over dinner, didn't we?
Yep.
Yes.
That's where we met. We were out at a mutual friend's birthday dinner in a nice restaurant, and Gary was the one I started talking to, and he was explaining what they do, and it just hit me. I said, well, maybe this is what I was looking for. Maybe this is something I should try.
Synchronicities,
Yeah.
divine timing.
Yeah,
Definitely.
totally. Yeah.
Excellent. So that's how you became aware of the Journeymen Collective, and it's been 4 years since your journey. Can you tell us a little bit about how your life has changed considerably since you met us? Or maybe it hasn't. I don't know. I know.
Yeah. Well, I would say, like, right after I left my journey, after the 90-day process is what I did back then, and then I left the actual journey, 4-day journey, got back to Vancouver, Canada there, and immediately right after I got off the float plane, my energy created a scenario where there was a young youth walking by, and one of my visions is to open up my own youth center. And I was just feeling so full of love, like I could tell you, it felt like I could burst, like love that I've never felt before. And I felt a lot of love through a lot of practices, including my Kundalini yoga practice, which is very much, you feel a lot of love there. So and this little boy, he followed me. He was walking one way, and we were going to walk by each other. But instead of going on his journey to the way he was walking, he ended up turning and following me and walking with me. And I just thought, immediately that was a little sign or omen of how one of my dreams was always to be able to use my energy to help the youth. And it was just a beautiful sign. So then right after I got home, of course, my partner picked me up, surprised me halfway when I was walking home. He pulls up to pick me up, and my energy was so full of love. He agreed right then and there he would do a journey. It just affected him immediately. Yeah, so then moving forward, I think my life just sped up to where I wanted to be. I really felt it just accelerated my life in many ways, and especially my business world, where things just kind of happen more effortlessly because I felt definitely much more tuned in and tapped into something much bigger than myself.
Really. I recall prior to you coming on the journey, maybe a few days before that, if you don't mind talking about your Uncle Joe that came into your awareness during the journey and how
Yeah.
that affected your journey process.
Yep. So one of the most beautiful synchronistic things that happened the day before I went on my journey after preparing for 90 days was my Uncle Joe, who is a very high honored man, and he was the Order of Manitoba and had done a lot of high service in his life, had just passed away. And it was a shock and sudden, but I questioned on my plane ride over to meet the shamans there at our beautiful site on Salt Spring at the time, if my uncle would show up. I didn't know if he would or not, right? So on the day 2 of my journey, there was this very beautiful, beautiful colors and images coming through, but it kept reoccurring in my journey where I was unsure, what is this? What is this? And then finally, by the end of my journey, it was a lot of energy and images and things of where he was in the spirit space and he appeared to me, he came to me, and I'll tell you, it was the most beautiful thing. He was sitting in a big, beautiful armchair, wooden chair, like almost like a high king or a high place with a wooden staff. And he didn't have to talk to me, even though he was talking to me. It was like a telepathy. And he just shot a lot of love in my eyes. And he said, I am your protector now. Because
Beautiful.
yeah, he knew the journey that I was going to be going on was one of very big, gentle, graceful, deer energy, but I needed a lot of courage to do what I was going to do and be in this vulnerable, gentle, healing place with people. So he was telling me he would be my protector as I'm going through this journey in my life too. And the last piece is I remember him saying, I'm like you. And what that meant to me was we both have acknowledged that we had this shamanistic ability to do this journey that I was on. He acknowledged that's who we were and where we come from, and he was like me too. The last piece of that story was when I left my journey and I had to immediately go to his funeral a few days later when I got back to Vancouver, and I walked into his wake immediately off the airplane into the wake and saw him visually laying in his coffin. He was wearing exactly what I saw him wearing in the journey. His beautiful red shirt, native red shirt with a black vest. And I had never in my conscious, memory, not ever remembered him dressing in a red shirt, black vest. Didn't have a recollection, but it showed up in my journey. So when I saw him laying in the coffin, dressed like that, I was like, oh, it was such a confirmation, right? That how those worlds really are one.
And basically how we're all truly connected.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Can you recall your integration process during and after the journey? How did that go for you?
Yeah. So my integration process for me was pretty smooth. I feel because I always knew in the back of my mind that I had Gary and Rob there, and they were such a big piece for me of my healing in that 90 days, like just sitting with them week to week. There was nothing like it. And I've gotten to sit with some of the finest satsang teachers, gurus, master teachers in my life. That's just the path that I love.
Mm-hmm.
But sitting with Rob and Gary for me before my journey was so healing, and at the journey. So after, when I was integrating, I just knew it felt like I was being held by a family or energy or people that I had always needed and wanted, like a brotherhood or more than just, yes, they're two men, but for me, it just felt like a whole dimension of family. Well, the shaman world, or maybe even my ancestors through them. I don't know how else to say it, but it just felt like I knew there was that in my life that I was missing, that connection, and they were it. And for me, like I have sat with other elders before, and I think maybe even a shaman, but did not have that connection. The love that Gary and Rob brought through for me, and like for how it hit me, because they are just truly, truly loving people. They come from a very loving place. To this day has been my rock in what I'm doing. Like I can just think of them and I feel anchored, and like a rock that I feel I can be unstoppable, right? Because that's that potent power they gave. Mm-hmm. We experienced together.
We all have the ability to do anything and everything that we ever wanted in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. The only problem is sometimes we get in our own bloody way. Mm-hmm. And we can talk about that.
Sometimes we just need support and people there that are living that life and anchoring that to remind us that's who we are, right? Because we get told that and we know that, but I think we forget a lot. Mm-hmm. So to have people that really anchor that that are in your life, and when you know that is who you are because you're with them, right? That's what it was like for me.
And have you shared your experience about your journey with others? And when you do, how do you explain what you've been through to others?
Oh my goodness. I tell them, well, the words are really, you can't explain it, but just imagine that if you've ever thought of doing something like this plant medicine journey, that it is like anything and everything that you've ever thought of, and much, much more. It's just everything you've ever thought of in your wildest imagination what it could be, and it's more than that. And I said that you would feel, for me, what my experience was, you'd feel love like you maybe never felt before, and I went on and on to all the little visuals and details that I had seen and experienced, and it's really quite mind-blowing and hard to put into words, but I said it's something that you should definitely consider doing in your lifetime.
Perfect. I'm going to quote you one more time. Kimberly says, I felt safe, I felt loved, and I would highly recommend to anyone who is drawn to plant medicine to go with the shamans that can give you the one-on-one care if need be, and time you need to go deep and then to be able to integrate after as well, which has made me feel so safe and has helped me go deeper into my healing process.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, again, because I've studied so many different things and done a ton of workshops, and, for me, the one-on-one with Gary and Rob, I can't even tell you those 4 days, the level and depth of love and care that they gave to me. I believe that's why it felt like my heart and my chest was just popping open, literally physically felt like my muscles between my heart and everything was expanding so much. There's so much love and expansiveness coming out of me, but I really attribute it to the care that they gave me. And even at one point, there was something addressed about me being First Nations and them being Caucasian, and that was just absolutely the cherry on the top, that they even acknowledged that there might be a space there for me where I might feel that I couldn't fully let go, and that they apologized for not acknowledging that. And to me, that was just the level of care that they always brought, and it helped me to continue to surrender and surrender and surrender, because it does take, the ability to be able to surrender and trust. And I honestly don't know if I could have gone to where I went to without that level of surrender and trust.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Can you sort of, looking now that you've opened yourself up, can you give us a hint of what was it that was closing you in so you were unable to release your heart, I guess? What was blocking you? Do you remember?
Yeah, so I think the first day, it was like a bit of control, constraint, still feeling a bit wound up from my pattern in my body of the city energy, not knowing what am I supposed to be experiencing, staying too much in my head with it, questioning, is this what I'm supposed to be experiencing? And then not fully letting go, right? And then for the next day, once Gary and Rob helped me with some things of how to let go and physically into my body and what to do, and just certain little tips along the way changed everything. It was so amazing. I can't even tell you. Yeah.
Maybe we should have filmed it.
Yeah.
But they'd just see you lying down on a couch, nice and comfy and warm, and going through a journey process.
Totally.
Yeah, you're not in a yurt or you're in the forest or in a hut somewhere. Sure, those experiences people are called to go there. But I think from the Journeyman Collective, we just set the bar a little bit higher on the experience. Going on a journey is going to be tough and difficult anyway. That's why we go for the more luxurious side of the journey. We want you to be in comfort so you can be cared for and loved and basically feel free to let go of what you're holding so you can move through the journey process with ease and grace.
Yeah, exactly, is what you guys had offered me for sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Is there, if you're looking at all that's occurred with you, what major change has played an important role in your life after the journey process?
Well, I feel like it really accelerated my life with my business, and everything that was going to happen was just in a flow and happening quite a bit faster than um, again, when it came down to any question in the background of my mind or life on anything, what I could do is I could just think of Gary and Rob. They were my anchors, right? To this day, I think of Gary and Rob and what they're doing and the work they're doing, and it puts me right back into that place of, wow, it's a powerful feeling for me. It's like, wow, I am that. And I am, because I'm connected with them. I've experienced that. I know I'm that. And it brings me back my full power and connection. And for me, what that was the ability to feel that expansiveness. Because when you're in a journey, and if you're able to let go as much as you can, that expansiveness and letting it take you over, the love and the light is just, it's ecstasy, really.
But we don't use that.
No.
It comes from a natural state of being.
Yeah,
Definitely.
ecstasy in the form of love.
Yes, of course,
Healing,
definitely.
love,
So
yeah.
I would say that you've come back into your full strength, your full pillar of strength. Maybe we are slightly off to one side and not back in our center. And I feel maybe the journey process has that awakening for you, that you are now aware more than ever before of your choices and direction that you're going in your life. You've learned to put the monkey mind aside and come back to true self through your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. Any final words to our listeners who are interested in working with the Journeymen Collective that you can speak out about?
Absolutely. I think the best thing to say is always, if there's an interest and you want to grow in life, and that's your commitment, just jump, take the leap, and you are in the best hands possible. I can tell you for sure, because I've done a lot of work and a lot of workshops, years and years and years of commitment to the spiritual path and the personal growth path. And these guys are the creme of the creme.
Too
Yeah,
kind.
yeah.
Definitely. I'll finish up with one last little quote from your testimonial. Kimberly says, "It was truly a once in a lifetime, deep remembering of my soul, and today very still, very empowering, and very healing for me."
Yeah,
Beautiful.
absolutely. Yeah. There was things that got revealed to me, that I'll always remember and feel, and they're the most precious things. And yeah, that just to be able to touch on that and feel that, there's nothing like it. And I think you carry those things with you forever now if you
Mhm.
can feel into them and remember them.
There's those touchstones from your journeys that you can recall, that you implement in your life moving forward.
Absolutely, yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This was wonderful. I love speaking with you. I love being with you. I know you're not here in Canada right now. You are in Vegas, if I'm correct.
Reno,
Reno, that's right.
Nevada.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely on an interesting project we would love to hear about at another time.
Yes.
I want to thank you again, Kimberly, for sharing your deep insights about your journey. It was 4 years ago, but I know we still stay connected. You're part of the collective, and that's what the Journeymen Collective are about, is
Yep.
maintaining a connection to everyone that works with us. It's not you just don't come from a journey and we say goodbye. You come from a journey and we always say hello, you're here forever.
Yep, that's right.
In many ways, in one. Totally. I'd like to finish off to find out more about the Journeymen Collective and to hear more testimonials and read more testimonials. Please visit our website at the www.thejourneymancollective.com. We are also on Facebook and Instagram, The Journeymen Collective. Again, thank you, Kimberly, for all your insight and wisdom and love. I wish you well, and we will speak to you very soon again.
Thank you.